During this video workshop, a number of dangerous tools will be employed. Please, on your own, be careful to use safety goggles whenever you are using any of these tools. Here is our selection of Day-Glow water pistols that we decided to use. We use water guns as the basis for our ray guns because water guns are easier to disable for convention use. The easiest way to make a squirt gun con safe is to drill out the barrel. Now, because we are going to insert some tubes, some metal tubes, into our gun later, to drill out our nozzle, we are first going to choose a drill bit that matches the size of our tube so that we don't have to adjust it later. Once you've selected your drill bit and you have your squirt gun, make sure that your gun is secure to the table, and you're going to want to carefully start to drill out the nozzle in the front of your gun. You can also secure your gun using a vise or clamps. Once you've drilled out the barrel or nozzle of your squirt gun, double check it to make sure that the tube that you want to use later on fits into the barrel. Ours fits, so we're good to move on. One of the things you can do with your squirt guns is if there is a transparent section, you can unscrew the screws and take it apart and paint the body pieces separately to keep the transparent sections clear. Once the screws are out, you can just peel it apart . Yep, that's good. Good.
So if with your ray gun, you want to keep just a certain area transparent, and just that bit, you can always mask it up with some tape and a razor blade. Please be careful when trimming this all later on. As you're pressing it in, you can sort of make an indentation for how you're actually going to be cutting this all up. And while I didn't do the whole thing there, get the drift on how it's actually done.
So now that we've disassembled and prepped our Day-Glow colored water guns, it's time to add some paint. Because we don't really want things to look Day-Glow. So we went to the local hardware store and we picked up a wide selection of paints. Rust-Oleum, Valspar, and Krylon all have really good gloss and matte metallic colors. So pick whatever is interested to you. These are the colors that we're going to work with today. To avoid painting ourselves, we're going to hang the guns on hooks while we paint. To do this, you need to find a good hanging point on the gun, and the best part on a squirt gun is the cap where the water would normally go in. So you just peel that off and take it off, and then you insert a hook, and you have a good place to start. Now we are ready to start painting. But before you do, make sure to shake up your paint.
So to start off with painting the gun, follow the instructions on the can. Usually they'll say do light dustings, usually about a foot away. Make sure it's not humid out or anything like that. That will ruin the paint job. And if you could prep it, prep it. We don't prep things here. We're awesome like that. The first coat we're gonna do is actually a very light coat. We're not gonna try getting like dripping wet or anything like that. We're just gonna give it a light dusting and make sure that the next few layers will actually adhere perfectly to this. Now make sure whenever you're actually all done then too, we hang up to dry so we can move on to the next one. So I will say, I do love the old school trigger on these cans in comparison. A little bit more control. And one cool thing you can do while I'm painting all the stuff like this is you do an occasional overspray. That'll add some cool effects to some of the other guns. So one cool thing we can do here is we can highlight certain areas in different colors. So like right here, I've done the handle as well as where the pump area would be, or the foregrip, in a different color. It really adds a lot of extra character to actually the gun here. So some color combinations, like we have the silver gun here, you can use a bronze on it and that'll actually give it sort of a little bit more of a weathered, rustic type look. Now we want to make sure we pull a little bit further away just to help get that coloring just right. So it looks like this gun was actually discarded, left in the weather, and things like that.
One.
So even though we didn't show it here, if you want to get some sharp lines here, the best way to do that would be with some painter's tape, preferably the blue kind. Sticks pretty well and does a very good job of giving us some nice crisp lines. Now do make sure you wait a while until the paint's actually dry before peeling that tape off.
It wouldn't be a steampunk ray gun without wires and tubes. So what we're doing is taking our dollar store wire, cutting some of it off, and we have wires that we can do all sorts of connecting work with, or we can take it and spin it around a tube to make a nice looking coil. A big part of our steampunk ray gun design is always using copper plumbing pipes as part of our designs. So we take a pipe cutter and a piece of pipe. You insert the piece of pipe into the pipe cutter, close the pipe cutter, and then turn the pipe as you tighten the pipe cutter.
Okay, so one cool thing you can actually do with your steampunk ray gun is get old automotive parts. And the nice thing is, most of the time you can get this stuff for free by going to your local garage and asking them what old stuff they have laying around. Things that are really cool are like spark plugs and things like that. One of the neatest things that we actually saw come up in recent years were actually wiper blades. Now we got these and we're like, what are we actually going to do with these? We have no idea. But we actually had that year our first steampunk crossbow. So just don't stop with auto parts. You can actually use standard household items. We have a cable splitter here, faucet, outdoor light. These can all be turned into actually really neat and creative things, meaning hinges, Christmas lights, you name it. This light, for an example, can be used in actually all of its parts. We actually have a light source here, if you have like a clear tank and a ray gun, barrel, a scope, as well as even a bayonet.
Now, because super glue and tape are not terribly durable ways to attach things to your ray gun, we strongly recommend using drilling and screws to attach things to your gun. Now, this demonstration is going to use a power drill, which we are not allowed to do at conventions due to insurance and liability purposes. And because getting enough drills for 200 people is expensive, and that makes this a very expensive hobby to begin with. So, to use basic small screws, you're going to want to use either a 5/16 or a 3/32 drill bit to drill your pilot hole. We'll start with the 3/32. There's going to be so much editing involved in this.
A little bit of problem now.
Okay, then you take your gun and you decide where it is that you want your screw to be. In this case, I want to attach something to the barrel here. So I am going to use one of these already existing indentations in the gun to drill a small pilot hole. It's very fast, you don't have to worry too much. Then you take one of your screws, and if it's a Phillips head screw, make sure you have a screwdriver with a Phillips bit, or if it is a hex top steel screw, you don't need a bit at all for your screwdriver because the hex nut will fit right in and you can screw without needing to do anything. So for this demonstration, we're going to go ahead and use the Phillips bit and a dark wood screw. Ah, I dropped it. Where'd it go? If you get your pilot hole right, you can start without even needing to use a screwdriver. And then, once it starts, you can screw it in as far as you want to or need to with your screwdriver. I'm going to attach another item on here. Let's do down below. And let's use a steel screw for this one. It's that easy. right, so each of us take a second and show off our gun under the camera. Everybody do something. They were done, what, a year ago, 2 years ago? These are old enough that the lights don't play on them. Well, that one does. Yeah, the bar in this